I love how my phone always changes your name to Maria.
Yup. That tells me that you have not spelled my name enough time in your phone. Everyone else in my life that doesn't do that
Anymore.
anymore. Why is yours still doing it? I've been in your life for like 20 fucking years at this point. No, not that long, but
This is Reah, and this is Just the Who of Us, where we talk about a range of topics, including life events, current events, spirituality, entertainment, family relationships, as well as answering listener questions and more.
I've asked this before with other therapists and psychiatrists, maybe not specifically if there's a thing for chronically suicidal people, but I have asked, like there was a situation where this was right before I stopped driving. There was a situation where I was in the car by myself and I was at a stoplight. And I panicked so badly because I'm like, I need to move. I need to get out. I
Yeah,
feel stuck. And in that moment, I would have killed myself if I had something to do it with because I'm like, I feel like I can't go anywhere.
I need
I
to
need
get
to
out of this
get
situation.
out.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like logically, I knew I couldn't move forward because there were cars coming,
Uh,
and all this time I didn't want to put someone else's life in danger because I'm scared of mine in danger. So I was like, okay, what variable can I take out of this right now and be okay? And that's to kill myself.
and that would be me. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the only variable I can control in that moment, too. And so in that moment, I have told my therapist to, if in that moment I had a gun, I probably would have used it. Just because it was the only way I knew to get out in that moment. Even though it might seem an over, people might say, oh, that sounds dramatic or this or that. It's not dramatic if that's what you feel like it's the only way to get out. It's like people judge your choices, but don't even realize what choices are in front of you.
Well, it's also when you have a lack of control stemming from such a young age, certain situations make you feel like I have to gain control of this. And it
Right.
may seem that, oh, well, taking yourself out of the world completely sounds like such an extreme way to control a situation.
Hmm.
But when you from so small had no control over the situations around you,
Hmm.
sometimes it is that serious, quote unquote serious, to feel the need to remove yourself from a situation because internally I feel like I can't control it any other way. Like just like you just said, but looking at it from a point of view of, well, it's not silly, it's not extreme, it's not it's the fact of my brain, the brain child part of my brain
Hmm.
feels like this is the only way to control the situation. I
Hmm.
don't have the ability to control anything that happens to me around me, so I have to control what happens to me.
That's why a lot of I don't know the statistics of it, but I know there are people that have been captivated and then they kill themselves in captivity because this is like the only way out.
Mhm.
Like this is, and it also goes to it goes down to our brainstem, the fight or flight or freeze. And like I said, suicide is the ultimate flight. It is the ultimate way to get out. And so, which is very ironic because that also then your body responds to that.
Right.
And that's where a lot of
Yeah.
suicide attempts fail. Is
Yeah.
because even though that's the ultimate like flight, you still got your fight going off over here in the body because it's your body's reacting to what your brain is telling you to do.
Hmm.
And so it's like your brain is saying you need to die right now, but your body's like, oh shit, I'm terrified now. I need to survive.
Well,
And
your body's also responding to the pain, the
hmm
stress,
hmm
the danger, all these things your
right,
body is trying to keep you from. Wait a minute, that's uncomfortable.
right, exactly. I mean, it's like that Arabic saying of, you're suicidal. Go walk straight into the ocean. Keep walking and keep walking. You start to drown. You're gonna watch your body fight for your survival
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's still, and I think in a sense, in my opinion, that's like God's little like safety valve of suicide. And like in creation of the humans, I feel like that's a little bit of a safety valve. It may not work all the time,
Mhm.
obviously, but I feel like that safety valve has saved a lot of people, like of like,
Yeah.
hey, oh shit, like I just did this shit. I need to go to the hospital or this or that or call somebody or this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it has saved a lot of people having that little bit of a safety valve.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit hard to have that safety valve if you use a faster acting thing like a gun or, you know,
Right.
like jumping off a off a building or something. Most likely you're probably gonna regret it halfway through, but it's like, well, I'm fucked now.
But even a gunshot wound, a gunshot, a failed suicide attempt through a gunshot. I don't know that I've heard about a person shooting themselves a second time because, well, now your body and your brain are like, oh fuck, that hurts,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I
So
mean,
you're not gonna pick it up and do it again, typically.
typically, yeah. There was this one guy in that book I was telling you about how not to kill yourself when he shot himself and then he woke up and then he called 911 and then
Yeah.
you know, or went to 911 or something. Like he was like, and so like it's just, and that's one thing is actually kind of funny with me. Hold on, pause the recording for a second.
Okay.
You're good.
So I think that suicidal ideations typically, and I could be wrong, this is just my personal opinion from education and experience conversations with people. Suicidal ideation stems from not necessarily wanting to die, but just not wanting to feel the pain anymore. And that could be mental pain, emotional pain, physical pain.
Mhm.
It's this is I don't know any other way to get rid of this pain other
Mhm.
than just not be alive to
In
feel it.
here. Yeah.
It's not even so much about I want to be dead. It's I don't
Mm.
want to feel this pain.
Right. I think for the most part, I agree with that. Like, I mean, there's a lot of aspects of my life I just want to get rid of, you
Yeah.
know? And um and there's times when I wish my first attempt worked, like I wish that, hey, like this worked and now I don't have to experience what I'm experiencing now, and I sometimes do have that regret of like I wish I was smarter about it or this or that. You know what I mean? And I mean, I guess don't ask it when someone's in a depressing moment, I guess, because right now I'm just like I still kind of wish that happened, but
Right.
um I um I think one thing that also other people do is not just for the pain to end, but it's just for everything to end. The good, the bad, the right, the wrong, the it's my therapist has told me before, how do you know the death will be better? And I'm like, I don't, but at least maybe be different scenery.
It'll
Like
be different. Right.
you know
It'll be
what I
different
mean?
than what I've been experiencing.
Exactly. And I mean, that's one thing, like, a lot of therapists and a lot of people use to think, like, how do you know it's going to be better? And I'm like, I don't, but at this point, how could it be any worse? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just, and so I think I think at the end of the day, it's more than just the pain in the agony. It's just a whole tightrope of it all, being doing this line, being told this or that, knowing what to take in, what to take out. It's just all such a complicated existence with all of us. And I think part of it is the smarter people get the short stick. Or
Yeah.
is that the right term? Yeah, the short stick. Because I'm not saying I'm smart in a big headed way. I'm just saying it more as a fact.
But
I
you
have
are. You're a very intelligent person.
Yeah, see, like
Yeah.
I'm a very smart person, and you read about these things about intelligent people who have everything kill themselves because
Yeah.
they're so aware of this world,
Right.
creates this like, whoa, what is this life? What is any of this, you know?
Yeah.
And having that awareness is such a hard thing to have, and I struggle with that awareness. It's things that people don't think about. Like sometimes in a random moment, I'll think about how like you have your own mix of life and experience and your thoughts and your neural pathways and your body and how and that can fuck up anybody. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like, holy shit, like they're
The
just as
complexity.
complicated. Exactly, the complexity of it. And
Yeah.
it's a step further of it because I can actually kind of see that, feel that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like you can think about it and maybe not have as much power, but if you can also feel that like shift of that knowledge, it can screw how you're supposed to feel up inside, I guess. And
Yeah.
it can smart people can go to existential crisis a lot faster and quicker than people who maybe have less awareness and doesn't go as deep or as fast down that spiral, you know? And so I guess it doesn't help when I have like my thoughts going at 200 miles per hour and it just
Right.
keeps going. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, but all right. It's already too late. I already feel the panic inside and I'm like, what the fuck? And so that's like when skills come in handy, like DBT skills or um talking to someone else. You know, sometimes talking to someone else like, and not even talking about deep stuff, just talking about things, you know, like maybe talk about deep stuff, but not too deep, you know, like
Yeah.
talking about life or mental health or just nothing too deep, but enough to just get me out of my head.
Yeah.
And that's what helps me the most is when I'm just talking to somebody, having a conversation, I can get out of my head and my body pretty quickly because it's like I'm more focused on, it's what you focus on at the end of the day.
Right.
And who's in the driver's seat or not? You're gonna let your thoughts be in the driver's seat. You're gonna let your parts of yourself be in the driver's seat. Are you gonna be in the driver's seat? Are you gonna let Jesus be the driver's seat? You know, it's just
Right.
if you have or whatever faith you have to be in a driver's seat
Right.
and like it's just and it's sometimes hard to tell who's in the driver's seat because you might think you're the one in the driver's seat, but really it's like you're just sitting right in the middle between the driver's seat and the passenger seat, you know, and having
Yeah.
the illusion that you're driving, but you're not.
Well, and so let's kind of talk a little bit about borderline personality disorder, or even ADHD, OCD.
I have all of those, so
as as if you listen to the last episode,
I'm all the diagnoses in one. The DSM-5, it's my face on it.
so there's a show that I feel like I've been talking about this show a lot lately, but there's a show that I've started watching, Balin Out Loud. This she's a young girl, Balin. She kind of became famous from TikTok. She went on TikTok. She was sharing her story about Tourette's, and she has a show on TLC now. And I am obsessed with the show. Superficially, it's entertaining because of the things that her verbal tics are just they're just funny, and the way that the way that she approaches them, she uses humor, and she doesn't like let it define who she is. But
Right.
she was she addressed her Tourette's. She has Tourette's, OCD, uh, Tourette's, OCD. She has verbal and physical tics,
Hmm.
which are involuntary movements. So like physical tics are like
Hmm.
involuntary body movements. Verbal tics are, we just randomly yell things out um, uncontrollably. But was talking with a therapist, and the therapist or the professional was kind of explaining it like a car. And she was
Hmm.
like, "There's four people in this car,
Hmm.
and one car is you, one car is your OCD, one car is your Tourette's, and one car is, I think it was ADHD.
Hmm.
And sometimes, depending on the situation, depending on your stressors, you can be in the driver's seat and the other three can be the passengers. And sometimes ADHD is the driver, the other three are the passengers. Sometimes it's Tourette's than the drivers. And sometimes it's OCD in the driver's seat. And even if you have just one, even if you have just OCD, or which is usually coupled with something else, but
Right, right.
just ADHD or just this or that, then
Hmm.
sometimes the different aspects of your personality can be in the driver's seat. And
Hmm.
it's true because if you think about it, just say for me with ADHD, sometimes ADHD is in my driver's seat when
Hmm.
I'm like squirreling around and I'm unorganized and
Hmm.
I'm just like so either hyper focused or so unfocused that what's driving my brain right now is ADHD.
Right,
And I'm just kind of a passenger sitting over here like, hey, can you calm the fuck down?
right, right.
And so for you, sometimes it's OCD, sometimes it's ADHD, but it's interesting to look at it that way, look at it like a car, and sometimes, the different aspects of your personality can be the one in the driver's seat, and the rest of you is just kind of over there like, I'm just part of this ride, and I don't know whether I want to be on this ride or not, but let's figure out a way to take back control of this
I
car.
mean, part of it reminds me, I'm actually currently doing IFS right now. It's
Uh-huh.
a very great, very great to have a therapy because we all have different parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, and each part of yourself, a lot of them probably don't even get heard. You know what I mean? Or they're trying to scream, or they're trying to
That's
get
such a
it.
good point to make, though.
Yeah, it's some of
Yeah.
them are screaming, and you're just like, "Oh, just shut up," or this is just brain.
Yeah.
This is just part doing shit. This is just, this is just, this is not important, And how many times have we had something inside ourselves scream no, and we still did it?
Hmm. Yeah.
And how did that work out? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like it's and some people, might put that off into intuition or whatever because there's a
Right.
difference with that though. There's a difference with all. It's like I have a part that hates the car because of my experiences in the car.
Yeah. My
And
son is like that too. Yeah.
exactly. And so when I get in a car, I hear her saying, no, don't get in, don't get in, don't get in, don't do it, don't do it. And sometimes you have to override that. You sometimes have to, because it's like I have to show this part that, hey, not every car this is gonna happen in. And yet that, that still that part still has it to where no, we can't get in. We can't go anywhere. Like this is a like 100% life or death situation. And so, of course, that's what drove the agoraphobia. And you know what I mean? Like, and then so then I have an agoraphobic part, that's the part that keeps me here, that's the panic. It's so interesting. And like, you can actually talk to them and understand them. And I mean, not understand them, that takes a lot more longer and more conversation and all that type of stuff. And it's it's I think it's one of the best therapies out there, honestly. It's connecting to your parts and then also trying to access self energy and to be able to help calm those parts. So,
What is the name of it again? So I can put it in the.
IFS, internal family systems.
I haven't posted anything on social media about the stuff with him. I haven't said anything. I really haven't told many people. Literally a handful of people that I've talked to, and that includes my husband and my mom.
Mhm.
I haven't. I didn't say anything to anybody and the rest of my family.
Mhm.
with my cousin. So my mom, my cousin, and my husband, and then like two other people. Um, and I did that on purpose because, well, first of all, I'm very big on if you are not active in my kid's life on a
Mhm.
regular basis, you don't need to be concerned with what's going on with them on an irregular basis.
Mhm.
You know, you don't have to ask me anything about my kids, like, but
Yeah.
you do,
Mhm.
you know. And there's a couple other people who do, or anytime I give the slightest inkling that I need emotional support, they're right there.
Mhm.
And so outside of that, even blood relatives, I don't really talk about much because, I just don't
Like
believe
that.
in
Yeah.
like, what do you call it? Like,
Consistency.
I'm not here for the inconsistency.
Yeah, I get that.
I
Yeah.
tolerated enough inconsistency earlier in my life
Yep.
pertaining to my kids, and I'm not doing it for myself either.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
um, with that being said, so I don't go. I'm not going into detail much here either, just for people who are listening. I mean, I know you know, but um,
Oh, I was gonna say we can't pause it for a second because I was just kind of curious about.
well, there was a couple things that I wanted to touch on that kind of stem from that,
Okay.
um, in relation to ODD and ADHD,
Mhm.
ADHD and myself, ODD and ADHD and him. And then, and then adoption related. I like having conversations with you about it because you understand and comprehend from the adopted child perspective.
Mm.
Um, so
Mine's better though.
of course.
It's right. Mine is right. No, I'm kidding.
Yours is literally the most relatable.
Exactly. Like mine comes from experience. Like, everyone else can just fuck off. They don't know
But
nothing.
but yours comes from experience, but it also comes from a place of someone who has actively spent time in their life trying to cater to and care for and nurture those experiences, and not someone who just had those life experiences and now,
Hates the
well,
world.
I'm just here,
Oh.
like, yeah, like well,
I
shit
mean, I
happens.
do hate the world. I just don't show it. Uh,
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
mean, you're talking about like someone who was like actually like had these experiences but didn't turn them cold-hearted, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I understand, yeah.
Um,
You're not the first that has stated it like that, so yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so in relation to my son, there were some behavior related
Hmm.
issues that we had to address. He's a wonderful, wonderful person. He can be very logical, very caring, very considerate, you know. Um, but I think that even in natural born, uh, biologically not natural born, biologically related children, there's issues, and it's always best to address these issues the earliest that you can.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that when it comes to adopted children, there's just naturally going to be some things. And I think seeking professional help is always the best idea. Some,
Mm.
so, I mean,
I
that's just,
I have something against I have a little pushback with that, just a small pushback on that. My parents got professional help and it only made me want to run away from my parents way more than after they started to get professional advice about how to deal with reactive attachment disorder and
mm,
shit. It made me want to run from them even more, made me want to hide more, made me want to be more secretive, made me want it to be more anything because a lot of professionals, even though they might have worked with 20 billion other clients that this is worked on, they're not, they don't kind of look at it the specificity of specific or the individualism of it all,
yeah,
because I'm one of those people. If you're trying too hard or you're trying to corner me, or you're trying to make me do things I don't want to do, well, you think that's going to give me a signal that, hey, these people are people I need to get attached to?
Yeah.
No, it's going to make me be like, okay, they're forcing me to do something I don't want to do. I don't think it has malicious intent behind it. I still love them, but
Right.
this makes me not want to open up, want to do this and that. That's the only reason why I say professional help is not always the best help. Because the professional help that they got, it fucked me over with my relationship with them a little bit. Because they it was I don't like it when people try too hard, especially to be my friend, to be in my life. I see that as a huge red flag and it makes me want to run even more. And while I understand it from my mom's point of view, she wants to have this relationship with me. She wants me to be open with her and all this type of stuff. But it soon became a thing where she couldn't even create safe space enough for me to do that. I had to, when I didn't feel like talking about something, and she didn't let me come to it on my own to want to talk to her, then she forces me to talk to her. And I'm like, whoa, while I understand what you're trying to do. And I was a very smart kid. So I could see behind everything sort
I can
of.
see that. Yeah. Yeah.
And what I saw was like, hey, you're trying to force me to talk about something when I'm not ready to. And I understand I am a suicidal, self-harming child. I understand you have to make sure I'm safe. I understand that. But if you don't give me a safe space to talk or talk when I'm ready, then how do you expect me to ever talk to you without
Yeah.
being like I have to be forced to do it? Whereas, like, my favorite person, my FP, and you know who that is, she didn't force nothing on me. She created a safe space. She created a space where I could talk to her. And she didn't even expect the relationship to go the way it did. I didn't expect it to go the way it did. But we
Yeah.
let it unfold naturally unfold, naturally try to, and I didn't force anything, she didn't try to force anything, and it just unfolded into a connection to be open with each other, to talk to each other, to have communication with each other.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just what I just want to say about professional people. I think that they're great, and sometimes they can actually hinder things more than actually help. So,
So I've never been specifically with my children and with myself too, honestly, but I've never I believe that professional help that it's always a good idea to seek professional help. But I don't necessarily agree that you should just take the first thing that's given to you. It's like it's just like with your physical health, right? If you have something going on and this doctor wants you to have this operation,
mhm.
we're not just gonna typically if you are educated enough, you
Mhm.
should never take that first opinion.
Right.
I had an issue. It was kind of the opposite, where my doctor knew there was an issue but didn't want to operate. So he
Right.
sent me to four other doctors.
Mhm.
Now, all four doctors basically said the same thing because of the like correction rate of the actual surgery. They didn't none of them preferred to do the procedure, but I talked to multiple people, and even though they all said the same thing, so you know, say you need this massive surgery, you're not going to just go to the first place. If you're
Right.
educated enough, you shouldn't just take the advice of the first person.
Right.
Most doctors recommend you get a second opinion on major things,
Mhm.
unless it's like you need this right now or you're gonna die. But you know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right. And I mean,
most
I'm also one of those big believers of not everything a professional says is true.
yeah, you have to do your research. You have and excuse me. I believe that there are certain places I could go
Mhm.
and they would have given my son automatically a diagnosis of Brad.
Mhm.
Automatically. Oh, he's adopted? Brad. The place that I have him with that we use for therapy now
Mhm.
did not give him that diagnosis. She gave him a diagnosis of ODD and on a very mild scale. Um, she believes, and I've talked to other people, and they are either kind of, let's medicate him, let's do blah blah blah. She is on the same page as me, where we're trying ADHD medication on a very low dose right
Mhm.
now, just for impulsivity and focus and things like that. But medication is not our long-term goal. And she even explained and expressed that to him in front of me, that so and so, these certain factors, not just the medication, but certain factors, even your ODD diagnosis. This does not have to be a lifelong thing. That our goal is for it not to be. Our goal is to work through certain things so that we can get past this. And I fucking love her for it.
Mhm.
Um, he's gone to therapy before as a very small child, and it was just kind of like this kind of like passive thing.
Right,
Okay,
right.
well,
Yeah.
here's here's these skills. I want you to go to school and use them. Okay. And he comes back. Oh, did you use your skills? Yeah, I did. And he didn't. He didn't do it at home. He didn't do it at school. And it was very passive. And I, no offense to her as a person, she was very sweet, but she's not what we needed.
Right.
And sometimes, most of the time, you need to get more than one opinion. And,
And
and
I
I've never been with any of my kids, have I ever just first thing, that's what we do. You
right,
know,
right. Yeah, and
especially
I
when it
understand
comes
that. And
to skills.
I think it's great that you got your kid on a medication. I think that's a great thing because my parents were so against it, me growing up. Like,
I
and
have been for a
so,
very long time.
and I think that also hindered a lot of things too,
Yeah,
because,
yeah, you're right.
um, because I don't think they ever had a fear of medication or anything like that. But now, how I am now, it turned into a fear of medication. Like,
Yeah,
even though they didn't mean it that way, they're not saying be afraid of medication. And I mean, I've been on
right.
medication in the past before, as you know.
Yeah,
Um, but one thing they never accepted because I got diagnosed with ADHD as a kid, as a young kid. But my mom was like, she's just a kid who just got out of the orphanage, never left. She's just an excited kid, like,
yeah,
and then and looking back on it now, of everything that I have experienced throughout my teenage years and everything, I'm just like, why would you just base it off that? Like, I
yeah,
mean, this diagnosis was given for a reason to help explain why the fuck I am. I mean, yes, being in an orphanage and trauma, that's part of it. Of course, it's part of it.
right,
That's
right. Yeah,
healthy. A lot of ADHD, I feel like, is given through trauma,
yeah,
through shit, That's what creates the hyperactivity, creates the hyper, like can't focus on this shit. I had a 504 plan for God's sake. I mean, like there were so
yeah,
many things that pointed to that. And sometimes I wish maybe I was put on ADHD medication, whether it's Adderall, whether it's a non-stimulant, I don't care. If we could have found
yeah,
something that could have been more okay to, like, even like you said, small dose, whatever it was, and to help me have a sense of calmness because I had my first dose of Adderall a couple weeks ago. When that dose hit, I felt calm. Calmer than I have felt in a very, 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 very long time. And I felt like I could focus on shit. I felt like, and thinking about the future didn't scare me. Emotions didn't feel like 100, It felt like how I feel like a normal person would be. And I didn't hear the voices in my head telling me to do this and that. I felt like I was focused on this one thing, and this one thing is the important thing right now. My
yeah,
best friend was here because I get scared taking medication, new ones by myself and stuff.
yeah.
And I haven't taken it since then because I'm very scared of medication, like I said. But like I was typing a message and she like pinched my love handle and I was like, bro, and she was like, what? And I was like, why'd you do that? She's like, it's so cute. I'm like, bitch, I was focused. I forgot you were here. And
Right.
like I was like so focused into this. I'm like, bitch, I'm about to belt you in the fucking face. Like and but like I said, when I was on that one dose, and it was only 1/4 of a 5 milligram, very small. But since it was so small,
Yeah,
but my body's never had it, it still did something.
right.
And so, oh, definitely, I felt the hunger shit. That's one of the side effects that it decreases your appetite. And
Uh-huh.
And so the next morning when I woke up, I still had the like I was hungry, but I was not hungry at the same time. I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling. I couldn't find anything to eat, and I was nervous about taking the medication again because I was by myself.
Yeah.
And so it turned into a huge anxiety attack. Like one of the worst ones I have had in so fucking long. And in my mind, I couldn't tell. Was it because of the medication that I took about 13 hours ago and then wore off like 8 hours ago? You know what or 9 hours ago that wore off? I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
Yeah.
So my other part of me was like, okay, was it because my body felt calmness for the first time? And this is how I normally feel. And so this is how it normally is. But now since I've experienced calmness, it feels like it's hitting me like a truck.
Yeah.
No. Or it could just been the anxiety of taking it again and it just fucked me over. And also that I wasn't eating because I felt hungry and full at the same time. So I didn't know what to do. So yeah.
Yeah. That sounds very confusing.
Exactly. Like, and it's like to me, logically, I know it's not the medication.
Yeah.
Logically, I know, but it's like now I'm afraid that's gonna happen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's just, I need to take it. It helps, and I need to take on a regular basis. I just need help getting started on that regular basis. But yeah, like I said, I just wish my parents may have allowed this when I was younger. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. I
less of a active person I am now. So.
I feel like I wish I wouldn't have been allowed to control whether I took medication or not as a kid because I was allowed to stop taking it in elementary school, very early elementary school.
Mhm.
Although it did seem outwardly
Mhm.
to my teachers and my mother, it seemed to help tremendously.
Mhm.
Um, I've never like I'll take like ibuprofen or Tylenol if I need it,
Right.
but I've never been big on medication. I
Yeah.
don't really like the way anything makes me feel.
Mhm.
But with ADHD medication, it could be, I know there's an adjustment period. I just, and I'm also terrified of addiction. And it
Yes,
transfers
yeah,
onto my
I
kids.
have that fear sort of, but it's just
Right.
because I just don't want to add another struggle to overcome.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like I have avoided that for so long. I have been prescribed opiates before when I had my back accident. I never took them. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm just gonna tough this out, even
Yeah.
though at that point it's just whether you're willful or willing. But
Yeah.
at that point, I'm willful to the idea of getting hooked on this shit because I have a very addictive personality. I really do. I mean, I haven't vaped in 8 months now, and
Oh shit.
I'm keeping. You haven't noticed I haven't vaped?
Sometimes you're really discreet with it. I've seen you like put your hand like this, and sometimes I figured that's what you were doing.
Oh no. I don't know. I just have a habit of just
That's
doing it.
your, I'm trying
Yeah, I'm trying to pick a girl.
to.
Yeah. Mm.
No, holy shit. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah. So
That's a
I
huge accomplishment.
yeah, so it was just like, and don't get me wrong, when I'm stressed or like how I am now, I sometimes just want to be like, just go give me one. I need something to take this like
Yeah.
away for a moment, you know? But then I
Yeah.
realized that I can now have conversations without losing my breath. So that
And
that
for
that
you,
that, that
for you to
needs
be so, sorry,
go ahead.
for you to be so young, that's even more amazing too, because most people your age
Mhm.
don't have that realization. It's not until they're 50 and 60 and they have lung issues and whatever before people finally get it through their heads that, oh, this actually is making me sick. It's made me sick for years. I just refuse to admit it.
Right, yeah, exactly. Because that was one thing. I was like, when I could barely have a conversation without losing my breath standing up, I was like, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. I am not doing this shit. I am not.
Yeah.
No, I already have anxiety leaving my apartment. Me getting out of breath that quickly is not going to help it.
Yeah.
So,
And it
and
does. It nicotine
I
contributes to anxiety.
the funniest thing about it is I had no withdrawals. The only withdrawal I had was maybe the first 2 days, and it was more of a mental thing.
Right.
But after those couple days, nothing. No physical, no coughing, no smoker's flu, no nothing. It just was all it just was saying, oh, thanks for the air again. That's basically it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all those stories I read, all those things and I was afraid to quit because of how the symptoms would be when you quit, because
Yeah.
I read shit, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if my anxiety would be able to handle this, and once I put my mind to it, I'm just like, and I even had some alternative vape shit around just in case like the nicotine withdrawal got too bad or something. Not like I had nicotine gum around and stuff. But I
Yeah.
told myself if I can, I'm gonna go completely off nicotine cold turkey. If I
Yeah.
can, because I feel like if you use nicotine gum or whatever, you're prolonging it basically,
It's still the nicotine in your body. Yeah.
Exactly. And so why would I want to continue this addiction? I'm just continuing it just in a lower dose, you
Well,
know?
for some people though, it's the hand to mouth motion is part
Exactly.
of their addiction. So I
I
get
had a
how gum
big
could be
bag.
successful, but
I had a big bag of lollipops.
I have heard that helps.
Yeah, so there will be times when I want the hand to mouth. I grab a
Yeah.
lollipop and sometimes for the hell of it, I even go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just feel sometimes I have that like uh urge to need the
Yeah.
like feeling that, like going to your lungs and feeling it come out. And there's not much I can do to recreate that sensation, so I just do it with
Right.
air. But like, there's been
Yeah.
times when like I just really want that sensation of just like feeling the buzz in the head and
Yeah.
shit, But
It's something that I'm really glad that my kids didn't get into or haven't gotten into
Mhm.
because it can be a really a really hard
Nasty
habit to
habit. I tell people, when I used to still vape, I used to tell people, don't do it.
Yes, you
Used
did.
to
Yeah,
me doing it,
you
but
did.
I wish I never started.
Yep.
I still, at that moment, I say I still do it because I'm addicted, but I do not
Understand?
wish I ever started this.
Yeah.
And my bestie, it was actually kind of funny because around the time I quit, she started. And I'm like, I have told you
Oh
many
gosh.
times.
Yeah.
I wish I never started this. I have told you that many times. And I know I can't control what other people do or say, but like
Yeah.
I've told you all the struggles I've had, with talking to people or, doing things, and she's like, well, I'm feeling fine right now. And I'm like, right now you do. When I started, I felt fine. For the longest time, I felt fine. For years, I felt fine. The
Yeah.
couple years, I have not been feeling fine.
Right.
And and so, I mean, it's okay. I love her. She can do what she needs to do or wants to do, but I'm just like, if you ever regret it one day, just know I try to stop you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Well, that's natural for when you care about somebody. You see them going down a path, and it could
you
be
already been down.
yeah, it could be promiscuity, alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, vaping, whatever. Like you see them going down an unhealthy path, and it's like you want to help them not go down that path. So naturally, you want to try to convince them not to do that. But
Right. But one thing I will give her more credit about is that she doesn't do as much as I did it, though. You know
yeah,
what I mean? She works. She tries not to do it around her kids and her husband and all this type of stuff. So
yeah.
that's more okay because I feel like she's not doing as much as I did. So maybe she can
Yeah,
be more
I
okay.
mean,
I
but
don't feel
then
like
she's
she expects
hiding it because she knows it's a bad thing to do.
it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, no, the thing about it is, for the first couple years when I did it, I was on and off for the longest time. I didn't become consistently doing it until I was 19. 20. I'd say 19 when I moved into here.
Yeah, I think
I
about
got
19.
my own place. It's when I started to consistently do it. But I mean, and when we worked together, I was able to go hours without doing it, no problem, just, but it was when, you know, then, COVID hit, I did it almost all the fucking time at that point. Also smoked weed a lot. So, I mean, but
Talking more about addiction, but so back to the what
this
started
is
the
what
addiction,
happens when you have two ADHD people talking.
right? So I was hesitant about medication for all my kids. Really, I have been throughout because of partially because of the addictive
Right.
component to medication. And I don't want to teach them as little kids to take this pill. Oh, yeah, take this pill to make you better. Take this pill to make you better. But I've recognized the older I get that, and the more educated I become about certain things, that it's okay to take medication when it's necessary to fill a chemical component that your brain is missing, and you have to explain that to your children, and not just, oh, take a pill to go to sleep, take a pill for this, take a pill, like, you know, even like vitamins, explaining to the kid, like, I try to get my daughter to take vitamin D. She has a deficiency, and so does my son. So do I. And all three of us trying to get us all to remember to take vitamin D. It's like, for me, okay, I understand this is a vitamin. I need it. It's not a pill,
Mhm.
like a pain pill or something.
I have vitamin D gummies that are vegan and they're so good.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Are
you can
they,
get it on Amazon.
hmm. I mean, none of my kids, they'll take pills. It's they don't have a problem with the actual process of taking the pill, and all of us really, we don't even take them with water. We just swallow the pill. So that's never been an issue. I know, but
You're a psychopath.
even when he started out, because I give him his at night now, his vitamin D and his ADHD medicine. And the first couple times I was like, go get some water. He's like, no, I'm good. But I'm like, I don't know why I'm surprised, because I do it too. Tatiana does it when I give her vitamin D. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I mean,
Psychopath.
I've always been like that. Big multivitamins, just take them. Like, I don't know.
Ignore my Harmo CD shit. That's psychopath, right?
Oh, yeah,
You're,
I don't
if you
know.
become a murderer, if they interview me, I mean, like, he takes pills without water. What did you expect? What the fuck did you guys expect for this from this? This is the reason why she's a psychopath.
So yeah, that's been my kind of qualm with medication. Part of it is I have an intense fear of addiction. I have addiction in my family on various ends, and I have struggled with addiction, cigarettes, alcohol at one point, food, overeating, and so I know those things genetically. And then with my youngest son, I know that he has addiction in
Mhm.
his genetics too. So it's like that medicine always makes me nervous. But then, and then there's, okay, well, take this medication. Oh, now you can't sleep, so take this medication too. And we're not letting our bodies do what our bodies are naturally supposed to do when we're piling stuff into it. Um, but I think my, so we received a diagnosis of ODD recently on a
Mhm.
mild scale, but I appreciated that she didn't initially just run to Rad,
Yeah.
because he doesn't display the characteristics of someone typically with Rad.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times people diagnose things just because,
Oh
and
yeah.
they believe it's true, but just because well, he's adopted, so he automatically, but
Yeah.
there are factors and variables with his
Mhm.
adoption, quote unquote adoption, that aren't your typical factors,
Mhm.
you know?
Actually, there's actually a thing I like to maybe possibly throw out one day is the
Uh-huh.
fact that I believe that rat turns into BPD.
Mm.
Like, you know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
a conversation I would love to have just to like talk through and talk about it. Like
Yeah.
maybe do some research on RAD. I do a little bit more research on RAD. Actually, I know a lot already. That's where I came up to this conclusion.
Yeah.
But
I know
like,
more about BPD than I do red.
right, I'm one of those people. I mean, if I could ever make a theory paper on this, I feel like it could blow the fuck up, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's not anything on it. I have not found anything else on it, you know. But I sincerely think that people with reactive attachment disorder, that it can possibly turn into BPD.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we're out of time here on this.
We're out of time. We got to go. We gotta get the job done. We gotta start a new nation. Gotta meet my son. Take the bull, touch the gun. Take the bull, touch the gun. We move on the cover. We move as one.
Same. Bye. Check us out on YouTube at Reah Higgs, ReahHagues. You can also keep up with us on Instagram at Just the Who Podcast.